How are you ladies doing
Hi.
today?
How
Hi.
are you? Good.
I'm doing great. Yourself?
We're
Good, good.
good.
Thank
We're
you.
good.
How's how's everyone handling this whole epidemic that's going on right now?
Well, we're staying very prayed up, saying a lot of prayers and, just trying to do the best we can so we don't like pull our hair out or, just go
Yeah.
crazy. But it's a lot, but we're hanging in there.
Oh, okay. So let's take it back to LaGuardia High School of the Performing Arts. So
Wow.
so you three went to high school together and formed the girl group. So what made you form a girls group and what was the name of the group?
Well,
Hello?
we were actually
Oh, okay.
friends. Yeah, yeah. We were actually friends way before we went to high school. It wasn't until when we got to high school and our parents were like, "You guys are going to school for this. You guys are constantly singing. You guys are constantly playing around. So why not make it like be serious about it and actually pursue a
Right.
career with it?" And we started actually like rehearsing and we went through a lot of changes with group members and stuff at the time trying to figure it out, but then we finally found the right for that mess. And at the time we were going to a community center in the Bronx where we were rehearsing and actually starting to take it a little bit more serious, and that's when we met Pope from the Trackmasters. And he's the one that kind of solidified us. Number one, changing our name because our name at first was so intense, and he was like, "We're not doing that."
Oh,
Like so intense, that's so whack. We're not doing that. So he
Right.
pretty much was very instrumental in like helping us, finding the right image for ourselves and get the right name and stuff. And he pretty much came up with the name Allure. So that's how that whole thing came about.
okay, so that was my next question. So my next question was, how did you meet Poke from Trackmasters? So you just answered it.
Right. Right.
So as far as that is concerned, so after a meeting Pope, so you guys were the name Allure. What's the meaning behind it?
Wanting more of to entice, if I'm not correct. Am I correct?
Yeah.
She said, if I'm not correct. You mean if I'm not mistaken?
Look here. Y'all know I don't like interviews. I get like stuttering Stanley. I get very nervous, even though I'm in my home right now.
Right.
You know what I meant? Am I right?
Yes.
The whole idea behind him finding our name was he said he wanted something that fit us. He said he wanted something that people would crave, something that people would see it as sort of a temptation, I guess, something that people
Right.
that would lure people to liking and loving what they see and what they hear. So he was like, "Oh, Allure," and we were like, we see what you did there. So it kind of stuck, and everybody had the same for us. So it stuck with us for them.
Okay, so the year was 1997. Walk
Right.
us
That we
through the
came out,
process
yes.
of you signing to Crave Records.
Well, actually, we had started recording our album way before we met Mariah. Actually, a lot of people don't know, but at first we were signed to LaFace.
Right.
And that
Yeah.
whole thing didn't really work out the way it was supposed to. So we were still finishing up our album, and she happened to be in the studio at the same time while they were mixing one of our songs. I believe it was The Story. And she wanted to know, like, who are those girls? Who am I hearing? And Poke was like, oh, this is our girls group, Allure, blah, blah, blah. And from there, she was like, well, I want to meet them. So we sang for her and Tommy Mottola. And here we are with Crave, and that's how it all came about.
Right.
So what song did you guys perform that blew them away?
Oh, we did Tonight.
Tonight
Oh,
by
yeah.
Escape. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how nervous were you guys? Because this is Mariah Carey and Tommy Mottola.
Mhm.
So how nervous were you?
Wow.
Oh,
She was an
understated.
idol of ours already. So
Right.
yeah, we were really nervous. But we just said our prayer, held on tight, and went for it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your multi-platinum debut album.
Aw, thanks. Yeah.
Walk us through the recording process.
Well, I mean, the recording process, I'm sure we all have our own individual things that we personally had to deal with. Like for me, when we first started, they used to make fun of me a lot because they would say I sound too old or I sound like I wasn't young enough as far as the sound, like how I sang,
Right.
because I listen to a lot of old stuff, like old school stuff. So they always tease me about that. And they would call me they would say, oh, we don't need Ella right now, meaning Ella Fitzgerald, because they felt like my sound was kind of old. But I took that as a compliment because that was one of my favorite singers. So I had to learn how to kind of be able to fit into what the time was to make the sound of whatever the song had to be. I had to learn how to be that. And that took a lot for me. That was a lot for me.
Okay. And the other two ladies?
For me, I sing a lot in church, so I was used to belting and just and actually Mariah was one of the people that told me, like, there's a technique to singing in the studio. Like, you can actually, it's a tool, so use it. You don't have to basically damage it. You can finesse it and things like that. So she basically taught me a couple of tricks with that as well, so I could be comfortable with recording actually in the studio.
For me, the studio process kind of helped out with my shyness a little bit, because I'm still shy to this day. Like, I think we all get stage fright and stuff like that. But for me, I wasn't really comfortable with my voice growing up because I didn't know who I was vocally. So it helped out with being comfortable with being the bass and being, taking on that role of the foundation. And the girls helped me out with that as well. And once I saw how much it was a part of the beauty of what the process of making a song was or whatever, I was like, okay, I'll be the man of the group if I have to. Everybody thought that they were the guy in the group. Yeah, it was funny. They were like, well, who's the guy singing? I'm like, that would be me. So, but it kind of gave me an appreciation because, like Aaliyah said, we grew up on a lot of like old stuff, like the Temptations and stuff like that. So like Melvin Franklin was one of my favorite singers growing up, and I used to always say, like, I sound like this guy. But then I started to appreciate, like, you know what, there's something dope about it, So it helped me out with basically embracing that and actually getting better at it, if you will.
So my favorite tracks off the album was Mama Said and Last Chance. So what were your favorite tracks and why?
That's a hard one because it changes all the time. I think for me, because it challenged me vocally, The Story is my favorite song on the album.
One of my favorites is When You Need Someone. Mary J. Blige wrote that for us, so we were like extra giddy and excited to record that song. That's one of my favorites.
For me, it's always been You're Gonna Love Me. Just the feel of it, just the lyrically, not really knowing at the time like what it meant, but now being at the age I am and actually knowing
going
what that
through
feels
things.
like. Right.
Yeah.
But that song always resonated with me for some reason, and every time it came on, I just like I literally cry, I get emotional and stuff. So always, You're Gonna Love Me.
So every artist has that one particular song that they dislike from the album, no matter how hot the song is, but they just dislike it for some apparent reason. Name that track. Why?
No question. It was no question.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, as much, and it had nothing. The song, LL was beautiful. LL was perfect. Absolutely.
The track is hot.
But the song, we just was like, yo, what? Why? Like, we couldn't get into that song ever. And people love it, and they'll ask us to sing it, and we're like, what? Really?
You have to sing it? No. I think we love the song, obviously, but I think that started to happen when we used to have to perform it. When we performed that song, for some reason it felt like it went on 13 minutes, and we're like, okay, already. So it was just like one of those things. And like Olivia said, people like, you guys aren't performing no question. We're like,
no. Today. But then we realized we had to put it in our show because that was like a lot of people's favorite. Right. We're like, all right.
Since you want to hear it.
Right. So speaking of LL Cool J, Nas, Raekwon, 112, how was it like working with your first album? You have all these heavy hitters on that one album.
It was a blessing, and then to a certain extent, it was a curse. Because it was a blessing because we were so thankful that all these people were willing on our first try to be a part of it with us and help us through it. But it was a curse because we went through that whole thing of people thinking we couldn't do it on our own. Like the only reason why it was a hit was because we had all these heavy hitters. And it took for people to see us perform to realize, like, oh shit, these girls got something going on here. So
it's not 8 p.m. You can't curse yet.
Sorry, everybody. I hope there's no kids watching.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
She's drinking, so I can curse, damn it.
Okay.
It's around. It's around.
Yeah, all right, with some vodka in it, I'm sure. I know my sister. Cut it out. Ginger ale. Sorry, Joel. We're going to
yeah, sorry about that.
No, you are perfectly fine. Well, you did get something wrong because on that album you can't skip a track.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, we could, no question, but yeah.
Please.
I could. As the buyer, I couldn't skip a track.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
So your sophomore album that came out under MCA Records. So did you guys part ways from Crave Records? What happened?
Ooh.
Well, we were still on tour and our album was still going up the charts. And we were in Japan thinking it was all good and all love. And we returned back to New York and Crave was gone. So then from there, Crave was gone. We didn't get a phone call. We didn't get a, hey, this is why. Crave was gone. And they automatically moved us to Columbia. And we did like a couple of soundtracks. We did the Woo soundtrack. We did the Runaway Bride, The Best Man. And then, you know, they dropped us. It is what it is. And we were able to then sign a deal with MCA.
Right.
Looking back on your second album.
Next block.
Oh,
this one and next one. Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of people and talking going on.
What's going on?
I think people are joining in, but okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So as far as the second album, looking back, the promotion, what do you regret about it?
That there was none.
But wait, there was
none.
Okay, we got spoiled. The first album, we had the Dream Team, Trackmasters, Mariah, Violator, Street. It was crazy. Like we had flyers everywhere. We couldn't go anywhere without seeing Allure, something. So the second album, we kind of didn't it come after 2001, like 9/11?
Also,
it came out right after 9/11. So we kind of had like a gray cloud over it. Like no one was going. It was almost like coming out right now during the pandemic, but there was no internet. You had to actually go to the store. So it was like, not Allure, not today.
But at the same time, even with that, there was no promotion at all. There was no promotion at all.
I'm sticking with my story.
So the lack of promotion, is that the reason why you guys signed on to Ron Artest for your junior album?
Well, first, you know, with MCA, it was a situation where there was a lot of people that we didn't know that was involved. People was taking money we didn't know was gone. And it was like imaginary people, but we didn't have any names. We didn't know what. We just knew money was gone. And the song that we had out, Enjoy Yourself, we knew it could have been a smash if they would have known about it, because when we perform it to this day, people are like, oh
that was
y'all. So we're like,
yeah,
that was us. Nobody knew because they didn't tell you, but it's all good. But yeah, and then from there, we just had to take a little mental break because it was a lot for us, you know. Of course, we were going through the thing with the fourth member that was no longer there.
Right.
And, you know, we were trying to figure it out. We were depressed. Like, we just didn't know what we were going to do for the next step. And then that's how we met Ron. And we felt like this was a good opportunity for us to be in charge of what was happening, and as far as the music and just being in more control. Right. And then we realized we still needed help, but it's okay.
Goodbye. But Ron tried though.
He did.
Right. He tried.
Yeah.
Even when he got in trouble with the fight, he was like, "Go get the album. Go get the album."
Yeah. Better promotion than MCA.
Okay. Say that.
So, you, like many other artists that paved the way for today's artists, the music industry has done you and several artists wrong. Looking back, do you think that you could have changed it?
I don't think so. I think it was a learning process.
I mean, yeah, it was a learning process, but as we can say that, yes, people in the music industry did us wrong and we had our stories,
right.
But we still had things we did wrong as well. Like we should have focused on and done a little better, not have been so naive, and, you know, just trusting everybody. So it was a learning process for us in many ways. So even though we do like to say, yeah, the business did us wrong, but we do take responsibility for our part and also what happened to us.
True.
It took us to be in our 40s to get there, but we got there. We got
but
there.
We still here.
We take accountability.
Allure that's still together.
Right. So I grew up in an era where music has so much substance, and you can
Am I looking like I don't have on clothes? I'm sorry.
You got some.
Yeah, because it looks like I'm naked. Like I got a clothes. Come on. Sorry, go.
Okay, go.
All right,
go. So I'm also live on Instagram, and Lily said, "What up?" from SWB.
Hi, Lily.
So what I was saying was, I grew up in an era where music has so much substance, and where artists produce timeless music, as to where I can play a song from the early 2000s and 90s, and it still sounds relevant to this day. Mm-hmm. Currently, we're not getting that. Why is that?
You're asking us why?
I mean, and
what do you think artists lack nowadays?
I think nowadays we've fallen into this pit of this gimmick that we talked about years ago. We started seeing this pattern of a gimmick that started happening where people would just accept any kind of music, no matter what it looked like, sound like, whatever. Like you look at hip hop artists when you think about Grandmaster Caz, you think about Sugar Hill, you think about Eric B and Rakim, you think about Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie. Now
everybody has something to offer.
Right. Yeah, everybody has something to offer. But then now it's like, and again, it's not like I'm shaming anybody or whatever, but then you see people, these little yachties and these little Gottis and little bodies. I don't know, they all little, but they all look crazy. And they're not talking about nothing. They're not talking about anything. Like, it just sounds like this mumble rap stuff took over, and it just took away from the substance. But I feel like if artists like us and artists like the Nas's and everybody else, if we continue to keep on bringing music, we can at least try to keep the substance. But I think that people just fall for whatever. I think it goes along with this new generation that just, I don't know. They
and we also lost that from the beginning, like from the 60s, even into the 90s and the 2000s. Labels actually cared about how your artists sound, what they look like. They put more into showing you
artist development.
Artist development, exactly. Now it's like you're on your own. So I could just put up my phone, I could put up my laptop, do a video with my boys in the back, and that's it. And it's no anything. So and then that's it. That's the process. So I just think it's just a different time, and we're trying to understand it ourselves. Like, that's a hard question for us to answer, but we're trying to understand what's happening in our own right, you know?
And with that, I want to piggyback off of that. When you, that time was a different era, but even lately, there's been a shift in the atmosphere. So there's really no time to put out boogalum, boogalum, bang, bang, boogalum, boogalum, bang, bang. Like, it has to have content. It's one of those songs that are like hooky, like you say it enough that it's catchy, but now you have to be saying something because there's a movement, there's a shift in the atmosphere. Something is going on, so you're gonna have to bring some lyrical content. You're gonna have to bring something that's gonna sustain time, that's gonna mean something for. Stop laughing at me still.
Yeah, we're still laughing at you, sorry, but that was funny.
Boogaloo, boogaloo, bang, bang. That's how we hit. But anyway, so, but seriously, there's something going on, and you're gonna have to talk about where you stand. Like, you have to, you can't sit in the middle. You can't sit on the fence. You have to pick a side, and either you got to do something positive, or it's just gonna be boogaloo, boogaloo, bang, bang.
Well,
hopefully it's not boogaloo, boogaloo.
Hopefully it's not, right.
Bang, bang.
Oh, coming from an era where they had artist development, and you had to work hard to get where you're at. Nowadays, do you think that social media helps an artist, or it takes away from an artist's brand?
Okay. I think everybody knows I hate social media. So I'm just speaking for me. I feel like social media, it gave too many people the opportunity to, one, be bullies. And back in the day when you came out, If people didn't like you, they just didn't like you. But you didn't have to know. Everybody wasn't talking about it. You didn't have to read about it. If you had a big forehead like me, it was all good. You didn't have to hear about it on the internet because somebody wants to make fun of it. Or, you know, if you put out a song and everybody's critiquing it, but everybody has something negative to say about it.
Right.
It doesn't give you any type of mystery. Like, to me, artists had mystery before social media. You wanted to know about an artist because you didn't have that right at your hands, like to be able to know all you. So you really you wanted to see your artist. You wanted to know what was going on with your artist. You had to go to the concerts. You had to buy the CD and read, and you wanted the pictures on your wall. It's like today, nobody cares because everybody has access to you like nothing. You know, it's just not the same. So I hate social media personally. I think for what today's music is, I guess it does help them because it's all about streaming and, you know, how many songs was downloaded. I get it, but I think for true school artists, I don't think that it helps us too much. But we understand that we have to get with the times and try our best to use it, you know.
Right. You kind of feel forced to share, even if you don't want to. Look at this one.
Yeah.
Good riddance.
Not really. I think it's just a matter that people just post whatever. Like, people just literally can post buffoonery and post waking up and they're brushing their teeth and they fart. And it's like, oh, 25,000 likes and all of a sudden you're a celebrity. That has nothing
right.
to
And
do
then
with
it confuses people. And then people with talent feel like, oh, I got a fart too.
I got to fart.
To make ourselves be relevant. You know what I mean? So it kind of
That's what I was about to say. If you don't post and you don't have content, then they're not interested. So that's kind of what I meant by you feel forced to share.
But the difference between that and us is that if we are gonna post, we want to at least post something with substance. And we're like you see how we are now. Like, we'll post funny stuff, we'll post inspirational stuff, we'll post our music, but we're gonna post stuff that is gonna at least in some way, shape, or form at least try to be inspirational to somebody, even if it made you laugh. At least we did our job. But we're not gonna just post us walking in the street and then we're gonna push somebody in the fountain and go, haha, that was funny. We just got 32,000 likes over there and now people love us. We don't care if you like us or you love us. We just want people to like what they like and not have to be like a shotgun, you know what I'm saying? Like a shotgun way to the industry or to the social media. It's whack. It's whack.
Okay. So what's next for Allure?
Boogie 'em, bang, bang.
I'm telling you. What y'all know about that? Hey, boogie 'em. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, you good.
It's a hit. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Right.
So,
okay.
So that's what's next for you. So as far as
no.
with the whole no.
The answer is silly. You're so silly.
You got to keep what I know. We're all over the place. That's just who we are.
You're good.
But no, we are still recording. We're still gonna put out new music. We always tell everybody we're gonna always continue to be who we are. So you're always gonna get music from Allure, whether you want it or not. And we have other things in the works. We are the type of people that we don't like to say everything until we have everything lined up. We learned that much. We did learn that much from dealing with what we've dealt with. But all we're going to say is look out for gag. Look out for gag. That's all we're going to say. And we have a lot of things in the works, especially after this pandemic. Hopefully we'll be back on the stage. And, well, not hopefully. We will be back on the stage. And like I said, we're still recording. We're still
social distancing.
Putting our but we're putting our vocal cords to use. And you're going to see us. You're going to see more of Allure.
Yeah, and for right now, you can look out for Like I Do. It's us, our latest single that we have on YouTube, and you guys can find it and just check it out. Yeah, it.
So before we wrap up, I would like to give you guys the floor to say a last few words to your fans that's been with you since day one.
Boogie 'em, bang, bang. I'm sorry, I couldn't. I had to. Well, one, we thank you. It's because of you guys that we still do what we love to do. There were times where we didn't want to do it anymore, and people were like, wait, we love All Cried Out, but we know you guys have just a little bit more, something to give us. And it's because of them that we actually still are here and still doing what we love to do. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, everybody knows all my loves. I call them my love bugs. And I just want to say thank you so much for continuing to support us through everything, like everything, the ups and downs. And like Lolly said, y'all are the reason why we still do what we do, because you keep us going, and we appreciate you and we love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, like the girl said, thank you for love. And just to say that if there's any other artists that are up and coming, or anybody who wishes to pursue a career in singing, and if you are a fan, or if you're not, you're just finding out, about us today, just to watch our journey, listen to what we've said thus far, and take it into consideration to say, well, to know that things don't happen overnight. And this is a true story of literally blood, sweat, and tears that we've put into this industry, and trying to stay together. And the fact that we have a love amongst one another as sisters first, before friends, all that other stuff or whatever, which helps. So you have to surround yourself with people that you know that you can trust, number one, and people that will have your back behind your back. That's first and foremost. Right. So as long as you have that, and you keep God first, and you have a good team behind you, and do your research. Like Aaliyah said before, we were naive. Don't be naive. Do your research, read your books. Just know what you're doing before you get into it, and hopefully you'll be blessed. More blessed than we were, even though we are blessed. We got
Don't sign anything without a lawyer.
All that. All that. So yeah, but thank you guys so much, and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And before we leave, I would like to say thank you. And I've been a fan since 1997, and I will continue to
be. We appreciate you.
I love you guys, and please stay safe, please.
You too. Thank you.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Boogalum, boogalum, bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Bye, guys.
All right.